Hey, what's up, guys? This is Johnny, and welcome to episode 27 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. This week, we have the CEO of Chiefs for Men, which is a men's grooming product. They make shaving cream, which I use. They use soaps for men, and it's cool because it's an e-commerce brand, and he's able to manage a store while traveling abroad. Originally from Atlanta, Georgia. We'll get to him in a second, but I just want to give you guys a quick update. I'm actually down in Krabi right now. It's burning season in Chiang Mai for the next few weeks, which is where the farmers, they burn all their fields every year around March. And for 2 weeks or up to a month, the air quality is terrible. But what's really nice is you have direct flights from Chiang Mai down to Krabi. And so I'm spending a week with my girlfriend, Larissa, down there. And I'm going to stay for another week afterwards to meet up a couple of buddies, including my cousin who's flying out down in Koh Lanta. World-class scuba diving. And so keep an eye out. If you want to go to this episode show notes, it's travellikeabosspodcast.com, and it's going to be episode 27 in the show notes, and there'll be some photos and videos of my travels down in Krabi and Koh Lanta. So without further ado, let's welcome Will Evans.
What's up?
Hey, so welcome to the show. Really excited to have you on because you're a business owner for a really good brand of men's grooming products, face washes, soaps, shaving cream, which I use personally. And you've been featured in some good magazines, right?
Yeah, we've gotten press, Time Magazine, Uncrate, Gear Patrol, Nylon Magazine. We were just featured in yesterday. So yeah, we've been featured in a lot of places.
That's cool. So for people that, you know, all the people that see your product line featured in all these great prestigious brands and these magazines, these websites, they probably assume you're a huge company, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell exactly what people think, but you know, I think it does kind of make a good impression on them.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. I mean, the website looks great. The products look and work fantastic. And what's really cool about the story is, I mean, it's basically, you know, you're running it from a buddy's couch here in Chiang Mai, Thailand.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But that's not how you started it. I mean, where were you when you actually started the business?
So I was working at a day job in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep.
Yes,
ATL.
I was a management consulting, I guess.
Okay.
I was more of kind of like I guess one of the younger guys in the company. I mostly worked internally, but you know, it was a good experience. I liked it.
So it was a 9-to-5 job in an office setting. Mm-hmm. And were you passionate about what you used to do?
I don't know if I was really passionate about it. I think I know I wasn't like one of these people that was like, I hate my job, blah, blah, blah. I'm quitting because I hate my job. The reason I quit my job really was more because A, I really wanted to focus on Chiefs more, and B, I was more kind of not passionate about the lifestyle of going to work. And living for the weekends and stuff like that. It was, you know, once I got in the office, it was fine. There's great people. It's a great experience. It's a great company. But it was just more kind of the lifestyle.
Cool. So before we get into the actual product itself, how you thought of it, how you sell it, how you make money from it, I want to ask you a little bit about your lifestyle. How's that changed since you started the brand?
It really hasn't changed too much. Like I said, I really wouldn't say that I quit my job necessarily, you know, to live this kind of like 9-to-5 travel all the time lifestyle. I just really wanted to hang around more entrepreneurs and less 9-to-5 people, not only in my professional life, but as well as my personal life. And that's taken me to places in Asia, not necessarily, you know, just kind of living abroad, just to live abroad.
Yeah, that's cool. And you know, I really, really like the new friends I've met. I mean, we actually just met, what was it, less than 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Here in this house, which we call Project Chiang Mai.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so tell everyone about how we met and what's changed since then.
Well, yeah, so I guess we met at one of our breakfasts, right?
Yeah, was that one? It was just a get together, I think.
It was a get together, yeah. So
was that Doug and who else lives here?
Doug and Noah, my friends.
Doug and Noah's place, yeah. And here in Chiang Mai, they rented a house right on Niemanhamen, which is a really cool area, about half a block from some of the world's best coffee, which I'm drinking right now. Shout out to Ristretto. I'm drinking one of their quality handcrafted coffees, and even though I've had really good coffee in Australia, in LA, in San Francisco, this may be better than that, and it's cheaper.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the guy who owns Ristretto is like world renowned too. Isn't he like trained in Australia as a barista or something?
Yeah, I heard he's won a lot of competitions worldwide in Australia and other places. And I mean, I literally just got back from San Francisco and LA a few weeks ago, and I was at Intelligentsia and some other really high-end coffee places. And it wasn't expensive there, but because it's just coffee. But these guys, I've seen them draw like these murals of like tigers and lions.
Oh yeah,
and
it's
dragons.
insane. I think he last year we were here. He put a mural of Santa Claus or something.
Yeah,
the
they basically say you can have whatever you want. It's not like the stock flour that you get all the time.
Yeah,
and its service is so good. When they were making my coffee, I noticed that they pour a little tiny bit into a shot glass, and the barista actually tastes every single glass of coffee that they serve.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, their coffee there is better than anything I've had in the States.
Yeah, so that's just a small part of this lifestyle. Mm-hmm. This morning, Doug and Noah every Friday morning they host a paleo breakfast. Mm-hmm. Let's tell everyone about that.
Yeah, so we have our maid Anne, who's kind of our God, our savior, our miracle at this house. So she cooks us breakfast every Friday. It's like a paleo breakfast. People are free to come. It costs 100 baht, which is
$3.
Equivalent of $3 in the States, and it's unlimited coconuts, fruit, eggs.
Just all the paleo kind of great breakfast. Yeah.
But I'm like, for me, it's not really necessarily being the paleo. I'm kind of paleo. I just don't try to eat bread and sugar.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, for me, it's more just kind of the atmosphere, meeting cool people. There's every time we do this, there's at least 10 to 20 people that show up.
And this time there was tons of people.
Yeah, there must have been like 30 or 40 people here.
Yeah, that's because the DC BKK event was last week.
Yeah, that's right. It was last week in Bangkok.
Yeah, so it was kind of nice. It was a big entrepreneur event put on by the Dynamite Circle, which is
it's like a mastermind
group. Yeah,
I guess that would be the best way to describe that. I don't really know the best way to describe it to non-entrepreneurial types, because whenever I do that, people are just kind of like
what is that? Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of like an online forum where 20 to 30 something kind of bootstrapping, hustling online entrepreneurs can kind of meet and communicate.
Yeah, and I've met a lot of the people now, especially here in Chiang Mai, and I'm friends with a lot of people, so everyone just assumes I'm part of it. The only reason why I haven't joined is they rejected my application. They said that, Johnny, you don't know crap about internet.
They rejected your application? Really?
I think the only reason why I'm not part of it is because I already know half the people, and right now I'm focusing on a couple things, and you know what? Especially after today, I'm like, there's absolutely no reason for me not to join. It's not something for people brand new just getting started. There's an application process where they want to make sure that you're already making money online. You already have some value to bring. It's not somewhere to go sell your product like the Warrior forums.
Yeah, definitely.
So big shout out to the guys over at Tropical MBA. Sorry for my logo looking a bit similar to yours. I got my logo made at the on Fiverr, and I sent him 3 logos of different podcasts that I liked, and I said, hey, can you use this as an idea, And he sends me back one that's actually the first draft was the exact same color even as the Tropical MBA guys. I was like, dude, we can't use this. Can you change the logo? Can you at least change the colors or something? So my bad, but big shout out to you guys. You guys were a big inspiration. So let's talk a little bit more about the actual lifestyle of traveling. What are you actually doing here in Chiang Mai?
So I mostly just kind of work. And I guess design products, write copywriting, communicate with vendors, manage some of my employees. That's mostly kind of what I do on a day-to-day basis.
That's cool that you can do that from your laptop anywhere. Mm-hmm. Why are you here and not back in the ATL?
I don't know. I think that, like I said earlier, so I grew up in Atlanta my whole life, and sometimes it's kind of hard to separate yourself from that 9-to-5 kind of lifestyle there. People like to go out and drink all the time. They like to play like football and watch football, and it takes over the whole weekend. And I've learned that like it's just really hard to do that and grow a business at the same time. Like you're already kind of living. It's already abnormal enough to grow a business. You already have to defy the odds. You already have to separate yourself enough from being normal just to have a business that will stay in business. So if you surround yourself with like-minded people who are living kind of like-minded lifestyles, that can really, I guess, kind of increase your odds of business success. And like, to me, it's not really whether I'm in Thailand or I'm in Texas or I'm in, Sweden, wherever it may be. I just want to be around like-minded people.
Yeah, I'm the same way. My original plan is actually to go to Saigon in February or for April, just because there's tons of other like-minded people there. Actually, yeah, I'm just going to go anyways because I've never been. But when it comes down to it, my travel plans are partly, places I want to go and I've never been before, but a lot of it has to do with who's going to be there at the time. And I have, really cool circle of friends that I've met out here, and I honestly believe that for the next, possibly for the rest of my life, at least, for the next couple of years, that's really going to dictate where I'm going to spend my time. Because as much as I like Chiang Mai, if all my friends, my close circle, moves out to Cambodia or Hawaii, I'll be like, all right, well, I guess I'm going out to Hawaii.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the reasons I came back here. I knew a lot of the people, including Doug and Noah, and there's probably like 20 people I can name right now that I met last year who kind of, similar mindsets, and that's a main reason why I'm here. Yeah,
and that's really cool that everyone has a different set of skills. Like Doug is the WordPress expert. He helped me make one of my WordPress blogs into responsive and just super easy to use. And, so if anyone needs a WordPress expert, just leave a comment and I'll send you Doug's way.
Efficientwp.com.
All right, nice. And, today in itself, I met 5 different entrepreneurs that, have 5 different skill sets. I met a guy named Alex a few weeks ago that does Google PLA, the product listing ads, and he's expert on that. And dude, just just for free out of the kindness of his heart, he was like, hey, let me take a look at it and I'll give you some tips. Never ask for a dime, never ask for any money. And these are the type of people we meet out here, which is awesome.
Yeah, definitely. They a lot of these people too understand. I think some of the people I've met out here, especially, I think there's different sects to entrepreneurship. When I was back home in the States, definitely, especially in the Atlanta startup scene, and a lot of these kind of startup scenes, it's more of like a take mentality. Let's set up this company to get acquired, or let's have an IPO, even though that sounds almost ridiculous to even talk about that with a startup. But here people are more like a give. They understand if I give value and if I help someone out first, then that will help propel my business eventually as well.
I think a lot of people don't even think about it propelling their business. Like for me personally, I just enjoy helping other people out. And I think part of it is because so many people have helped me out on my journey. I really didn't know that much about internet business until very recently. And it's because I met cool people who were like, oh, no, just do it this way. Or let me help you with this. Now I just want to give back. And part of learning and growing is teaching others. And if you can teach others, it really makes you master the skill yourself.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If you can, I guess it's one thing to be able to kind of rationalize a skill and be able to kind of do it yourself, but if you can teach other people how to do it, because people learn a million different ways, so if you can do that, then you really truly have, it can help you definitely master a certain skill.
I think that's why a lot of people have been enjoying this podcast a lot already, is because I really like interviewing people and finding out how they just started out, and hearing the success stories. And so I definitely want to get that out of you. How did you get started with Chiefs?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different reasons. Like my background was mainly websites. I think I built my first website in college, and then I think I somehow convinced someone to pay me for a website not too soon after that. And I didn't realize it then, but now looking back on it, that was probably like my first foray into becoming an entrepreneur, So
you definitely are an entrepreneur. It's funny that you just use air quotes.
Yeah.
But you have a legitimate business.
Yeah, true.
And it's easy sometimes for us to kind of underplay our businesses because we have such low overhead. We're not sitting in a 40-story office building with 40 employees. But at the end of the day, there's no difference between your brand of face wash and something that you can find at Ralph's or whatever. In fact, yours is better. It's just that you have much lower overhead than these guys.
Yeah, well, with the men's grooming market and consumer packaged goods, cosmetics, whatever kind of vertical it falls into, it is very, very competitive. Obviously you're competing with the people at the real top, like Procter and Gamble and Unilever, who have, multi-million, some of them $billion brands across the world. But you got to find creative ways to compete. To me, being in that large market means there's more of a bigger opportunity to kind of succeed.
That's definitely true. I mean, so there's pros and cons of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people like to start super niche because there's less competition. But at the same time, sometimes you hit a ceiling and there's not enough to grow. But with a product like yours, the growth is really unlimited.
Yeah, I think we started out niche. So our face wash is energizing, and so we built the line out like that. But I realized that a lot of people are like, oh, that's too niche, and that shouldn't prohibit you from just jumping in, because a lot of times you won't figure out really where you need to go next until you're already in the game, kind of working at it.
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, in fact, the last time we hung out, which was 10 days ago, I believe, I didn't even have the idea to start a podcast.
Mm-hmm. Now you're like, what, eight episodes in?
This is episode 8.
Wow. I wish I could hustle as hard as you guys.
But you know what? I mean, at the end of the day, what it is so the way this actually started was 10 days ago, I was sitting in this exact same house, and Terry Lin, who's the guy behind the Build My Online Business.
Yeah, he's had a lot of success.
Yeah, and I was listening to his podcast for a while, really enjoyed it, and I met him at one of these get-togethers out here in Chiang Mai, these entrepreneur get-togethers, which was at Bryce's house. Were you there that day?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
This guy has a Thai penthouse. You walk in, there's a koi pond inside of his apartment.
Oh, yeah. I remember that party.
Yeah, how can you forget that?
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah.
And so we met, and he was like, hey, would you like to be a guest on my podcast? And I was like, yeah, sure, I guess. And prior to that point, I never really had any experience with podcasts at all besides listening to him, and I really enjoyed him. Mm-hmm. And he sat down, we did an interview just right upstairs from here, and afterwards I was like, oh, that was pretty easy. Is that all it takes is a microphone, a laptop, and a piece of free software? And he's like, yeah. So I think after that I decided, hey, I meet tons of interesting people while traveling, just right here in Chiang Mai. Even if I never leave the city, I meet so many entrepreneurs from everywhere in the world. Why not sit down and just talk to them for an hour and see what kind of knowledge they have to share with everyone? And from that day, I basically just let my e-commerce businesses run on autopilot. Still been making sales, and I think that's what's really good about having a business like that is I focused 100% of my time and effort on this new podcast, it's not even a way to make money. It's just something I enjoy doing. And I'm making money through my e-commerce business, just letting it sit there. Mm-hmm. So, whatever passion you have, whatever idea you have, just start it. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just throw something up. Like, there's going to be tons of changes to this podcast as it goes. I'm sure I'll figure things out. Like I'm going to change the header, which looks a little bit like something out of GeoCities right now.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with GeoCities.
Check out our new website at geocities.com/Hollywood/park/1186/index.html.
Oh, man. Yeah, but I think you bring up a good point to just get started. I was talking to Noah, my roommate, the other day about there's a great podcast out there called The Marketing Show by Clay Collins. He's pretty well known. He's also, I guess he owns a couple software applications. Lead Player, I think is one. Lead Pages is the other. But yeah, he was talking about how a lot of people get stuck. They get stuck on logos. They get stuck on stuff like that. So when people land on the Chief site, they're like, wow, this site looks great.
Yeah, it does.
And I think if I had to take it back a step, I would say I would have just gotten started earlier. Like I was definitely the guy spending time like tweaking logos and stuff like that. But if you look at some of the biggest brands, per what Clay was saying, Facebook and Google, Time Magazine, these are just fonts. They're just fonts,
That's true.
If you go on Berkshire Hathaway's website, I think we were talking about this today, which is, Warren Buffett's company. Go on Berkshire Hathaway's site, okay? It literally is HTML from the 90s with like a cheesy Geico ad on it. So, I mean, I think the most important thing is like you said, kind of figure out a goal of what you want for, with your project, whether it's a podcast or an ebook or any type of product. I recommend a product that you can sell for cash. But
cash money.
But Yeah, figure out a goal and just get it up and start testing it. Start, testing that marketing funnel.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
One really good way to get into making money online or e-commerce is start with something like drop shipping, where you don't have any inventory. You're not, going through the 6-month process of getting something made in China and shipped over. Just sell someone else's brand that already is established, people want. And once you build up that sales funnel and you build up the website, all you have to do is just make your own product. Like you get a private label product made, and you already have everything else in place.
Yeah, I highly recommend that. That's another thing that I wish I would have done beforehand. Before I started this, I wish I would have gone and leveraged other platforms like an Amazon or an eBay. Figure out, what sells, what doesn't sell. The products that do sell, what are the customers' pain points? What do they like? What do they not like? What do you wish you could innovate from that product, And then, it depends on the product, obviously. But then go to like a private labeler or a contract manufacturer or somebody and make a custom product. And by that point, you probably already have some cash flow too, so you don't need to go out and get debt or something like that. Yeah,
not only do you have cash flow, you have traffic, you have proven revenue. So if you did need to get a loan, you could, because you have proven revenue. And it just makes life so much easier than taking that big risk yourself. And it's something that you can do while making money. Like, for example, my e-commerce dropship business, if I ever wanted to, I can easily private label something from China with my own brand, and I can increase my margins by a lot. The only reason why I'm not doing it is I value my time and freedom more than I do extra money. So at least for now, I don't want to have to deal with a warehouse or fulfillment center and ordering products. I'd rather just sell other people's products and have them drop ship it directly for me.
You bring up a good point. I found that, fulfillment is actually not, obviously starting off fulfilling your own product is a headache, but once you outsource it can be quite painless. But I think you brought up a good point that was said that, like, as far as making a product, and like the products we're making at Chiefs are not incredibly complex, it's not nearly as complex as some of these products you might need to get made in China, and so there's just so many little details where it could go wrong. And like something as silly as like, we got the product made, we got the packaging right, we got the design for the label right, but then we can't find that one vendor to put the labels on the package so we can then ship it to the fulfillment house. These type of problems are definitely the cons of, having your own product and private labeling it as opposed to just drop shipping or something like that.
So is it, are you the only one behind this brand and this company, or do you have other people that help?
Well, I'm pretty much the only person behind it. I have, some employees, and I have some, contractors that help us out. Like our fulfillment house would be one. But, for the most part, I'm pretty much the only principal in the company.
So when you were first starting out, were you sending out the products yourself, or did you always start with a fulfillment house?
No, I started out doing it myself. We just launched, and I launched out of my apartment, I think. Yeah. And or a house, or my room in this house I share with a few buddies. But we made it through our first Christmas. Like the business broke even. Let's see, I launched Chiefs in October 2011, I think. And we made it through that Christmas, and then I was like, I can't do this anymore. The holiday season just swamped us. Yeah, but I was going to the post office every day or every other day and dropping stuff off. And then it was that January, like January 2nd, literally, I picked up the phone and started calling fulfillment houses. Yeah.
But I bet you the very first couple orders you got, you were excited to go down to the post office.
Oh, yeah. No, there's definitely that rush. Like when you first make like money online, that was, it's something I've almost forgot at this point, but it was something that was, very exhilarating.
Well, what's crazy is all I really need to do to fulfill my products is I get an email saying, hey, you made a new sale. And all I have to do is forward that to my dealer. And I just copy and paste. I don't even really write anything. Sometimes I'll write something nice like, hey, good morning, or hope you had a good weekend. Yeah. Here's a new order. But really all it is copy and pasting 2 or 3 things. And then I update my accounting. I have like a Google Drive Excel spreadsheet. I just put that in, see how much money I made from that product. And that's it. It gets sent out by the manufacturer via dropship. When the item ships out, we get a tracking number that's sent over. I forward that over, and it realistically takes me maybe 1 or 2 minutes of my time per order. And I used to be so excited every time I got a new order. I would be ecstatic. Now, because it happens every day, sometimes a couple times a day, I'm just like, I got to forward this email again. And I'm actually thinking about outsourcing that part of it now.
That's a clear sign that you need to outsource it. Yeah. I've definitely been there. I think that anything that, and it's tough to figure out what to outsource and what to not outsource when you're a small company with, the tight cash flow. But anything that's making you money, you need to find ways to outsource. And, that, like you said, it takes you a couple minutes. Just go get a VA or something, get them a few scripts, get them set up on like canned responses in Gmail or something like that. And she'll be trained in like an hour. Yeah, probably
easy.
Less. Yeah.
I mean, the easiest way to basically outsource these remedial tasks is to do a screen capture of you doing it a few times.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And just send them this video. Easy. I mean, what I really like about Macs is I remember, Googling screen recording software, and then I saw a thread that said you don't need to download anything, just use QuickTime that's built in, and there's a built-in video recording, screen recording, and audio recording. Actually, this whole podcast is recorded on QuickTime audio recorder, which is built in. It's free.
Wow, I had no idea that QuickTime could actually take screen casts.
Yeah, they can do everything, and it's crazy because QuickTime is not very good when you're using Windows. It's like this, I used to hate it thinking, man, I don't want to download QuickTime. But when it's actually on a Mac and its native platform, it works super good.
Yeah, definitely. Most of the Mac, I'm a big Mac fan, but you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
No idea that you could do that well.
And
I normally just use like Jing or ScreenFlow.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit more of an advanced product.
Well, here's the thing is like, I used to be all about new software technology, but now I want everything as simple as possible. All the videos I edit are on iMovie, which is free included. I edit all my podcasts in Audacity, which is free. I mean, literally, the only thing I paid for was this mic. And I mean, life is. I mean, and all my spreadsheets and everything are on Google Drive, which I highly recommend. Everything is just so simple now. I use Shopify for my back end, which I know you use as well. I know. You've kind of outgrown Shopify, especially with some of the themes. But was it easy to get started with it?
Yeah, it's really easy. I'm ups and downs with Shopify. First off, there's never going to be a perfect tool. I think Shopify on the back end is amazing. It can do a lot. It looks slick. You can set like permission settings. So if you want a developer to go in there but not get access to like your order information, your customer information, you can do that. You can set up like shopping cart abandonment emails. You can set up all sorts of easy templates that you can make in HTML as far as what the customer sees after the sale or when they get a shipping confirmation or something like that. My only real problem with Shopify is that I grew up on WordPress. That's where I cut my teeth. And as far as styling a website and as far as the plugin library, you just can't beat WordPress.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially for a product like yours where it's not like you have 50 products or 100 products. You have 3, 4, 5 products. And a lot of it has to do more with design and flow and that feel. For the reason why Shopify works really well for my products is I have 100 products and I want to be able to track it, all the reporting in the back end. I want to be able to add and remove products on the fly easily. And so for e-commerce stores, I highly recommend Shopify. For a product that has, one option or 2 options, I think WordPress might be a better way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just starting out, like I said, I spent way too much time like pros and cons of each tool. And I think it's important to think about a platform that'll scale. But like I said, if I just do it all over again, I would just set up worked on a platform I'm comfortable in, like WordPress, and just hyperlink the buy now button to a PayPal page. It could be that ghetto.
Yeah. And the thing is, by doing that, I mean, maybe you're not going to get the best conversion rate, or maybe you're going to have some problems because some people don't like using PayPal. But it'd be 1 million times better than you not having your site live.
Yeah, I mean, I still do that actually. Like sometimes we run like complicated promotions where we're like mixing and matching products, and it's kind of hard. You could probably set it up in Shopify, but it wouldn't necessarily carry over to our fulfillment house. And I'm just like, what we'll do, instead of sitting here and like having to go out and get a developer to do this, just write the sales page, hyperlink the buy now button to a PayPal page, and then just manually enter the orders with our fulfillment house.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, if it makes money and it's working, then you can go out and get the custom development and stuff like that.
That is dope, dude. I really like that, man. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is So I wanted to ask you about is what your future plans are with not only the business, but where do you plan on moving to, just kind of in general?
Yeah, so this is kind of a good and bad problem to have. A lot of times I don't know where I'm going to be next. I got to go back to, I'm from, like I said, Atlanta. I got to go back to Atlanta for a wedding, and over the holidays I'll be there. So, maybe back to Asia, maybe in the States, maybe South America. I don't know. The nice thing about Chiefs that we didn't really talk about too is we have a pretty big wholesale business. We're in over 100 stores in the States. And sometimes, I have to be on location and stuff like that. So, I kind of always got to kind of be in and out of the States with this company. But, I don't really, like I said, I don't really mind America. I'm not one of these guys that's like, screw America, like, but, Chiang Mai for the next month and back to the States for me.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were actually in big box retailers. That's pretty awesome. So for the people in the U.S., if they wanted to pick up some Chiefs, where can they get it?
Well, you can buy it from our website. That's probably the fastest way. Our shipping is lightning fast. We ship it out in New York, but if you're in San Francisco, per se, we can get it to you in 3 to 4 days.
Okay.
But you can also, we're nationwide with a company called West Elm. We also work with some other great sites that you might have heard of, like manpacks.com, groominglounge.com. There's a few more, but those 3 or 4 places you'll be able to find Chiefs.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I've been using the shaving cream, and I actually really enjoy it. So for those who don't know, there's a big kind of almost like a community of people who like traditional shaving methods. We're talking about nice, lathery shave cream, badger hair brushes, and either straight or double-edged safety razors. And ever since I started using a safety razor, which is it just uses a traditional blade, I will never, ever go back to a Gillette again. I mean, to me, having a Gillette Mach 3 or whatever the new ones are, the new Fusions, they're ridiculous. I mean, they're so expensive to replace the cartridges. Mm-hmm. I've literally spent $10 in cartridges in the past 5 or 6, maybe even 7 years. I bought a 100-pack of double-edged blades, and each one lasts me at least a week. And I've never gone through it. I mean, because that's 500 blades for 10, I think it was $10 or $15 or something.
Yeah. And they really do kind of give you a close shave.
A really close, great shave. And what's really cool is it's just this, this metal contraption that will never break on me. I'm not using this, plastic thing I'm gonna break in my luggage. And I can have a new blade every day almost. That combined with good shaving cream. Right now I'm not using a brush just because I didn't pack one with me. So I just grab a little pea-sized amount of the shave cream, lather it up with some water. Usually after a shower that works best, and I get some of the best shaves in my life.
Yeah, it's good. The shaving cream we launched in, let's see, when did I launch that thing? I think it's not even a year old. It's done pretty good for us. Yeah, a lot of people like it.
Yeah. So what is it about your products that people really like?
Yeah, so this is an evolving topic, and I think that's true for any business. You should always be on the heartbeat of kind of what people like, because it changes. And 2 years ago when I started this, I thought people would really like the benefit or the features of the product, and that is true. But I didn't necessarily know what it was. So when we first started, it was more like energize, wake you up, stuff like that. But now as we grow, I'm finding more and more customers just really like good smelling products. It's really that simple. We did some surveying about a month ago, and like the 2 words that kept popping up over and over and over again, and we didn't even mention these words in the survey, was the smell and the scent. The smell and the scent. So that's kind of where we're going to focus our attention on. We'll do some other things too. We'll always continue to have free shipping, have a great return policy. We use natural ingredients, but if we can make products that smell really, really good, I think we'll go far with that.
And importantly, they smell like a man.
Smell like a man too. Yeah.
So I used to use. So when I lived with my girlfriend, she had her girl brand of shaving cream that she used like for her legs and whatever else she shaved. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed about it was, for whatever reason, those cans would last 4 times longer than a comparable brand for men's. And I think it's because girls just have to use so much more that they pack more in there. So, when I used to shower at her place, I didn't really mind using hers because it was just there. But then one day I had this stupid idea to buy, women's shave cream for my primary use just because it lasts longer. I thought it was a better value. But I was using it at my house when I wasn't dating her anymore, and I just felt really awkward smelling that that female scent, and I hated it. I actually threw that can away, and then I switched over to a manlier scent, and it just made me feel, I don't know, it just made me feel like, hey, this is what I should be using.
Well, that's definitely like what I've been seeing in the grooming market. First off, there's the difference between the women's cosmetic market and the men's cosmetic market is just massive. I don't like to refer to my products as cosmetics, but technically they do fall into that. I mean, there's just so many women's products out there. You walk into Target, you go down the women's aisle, and there's like 10 aisles dedicated to makeup and body wash and conditioner and stuff like that. You walk down the men's aisle, and it's just like one aisle, Yeah. It's growing, though. It's growing, and more guys are becoming conscious about grooming products. They're dabbling into more kind of premium products. So, I mean, we're definitely trying to tap into that and to, kind of expand our line around that.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think that, once you get a guy that likes your brand, they'll just keep using it forever.
Yeah, you would think that. You would think that. Okay. It's not always like that. I think this is one of the cons of starting a business like Chiefs in a very competitive market. It's now, there's so many options out there, and we're never going to be able to compete on price either. I don't want to compete on price, but you're never going to be able to beat Procter and Gamble.
Yeah, and, I used to not mind buying these big box things just because they're convenient and they're cheap. But now especially a little thing of shaving cream lasts forever. Like that little thing of shaving cream I have from you guys, I've been using it for the last couple of weeks, and it looks like it's still full because every time I use it, I use such a small amount. I mean, it'll probably last me months. Yeah,
it'll last for a while. We do use more premium ingredients than them. We offer obviously better terms on shipping and our guarantee, as opposed to if you were to just go, first off, you can't even buy like Old Spice products, I don't think, online or something like that.
Yeah,
I think you'd have to go to like a Walmart or a Target or something.
Nowadays I hate going to stores to buy anything. I'd rather just order everything online, and instead of ordering it on Amazon, I'd rather just order directly from the manufacturers. That's cool. So let's get back to the business side of it. So the people listening to this that are thinking about starting their own brand of anything, I personally would never ever get into this market because I know how competitive it is. I know how hard it is to build a brand. I mean, this is basically a lifelong project. It's not like a fly by night that you could just say, oh, let me just make some men's grooming products. Put up some Google ads for it and make money. This is it takes a lot of branding to get this.
I mean, I would if you're going by like some of these things these guys talk about, like starting a niche business, stuff like that. There's definitely way better businesses you can start with way better margins and stuff like that. But, I never started it with that kind of mindset. I started it more kind of like a long-term kind of approach.
Yeah, that's right. What I like about that is, a lot of people that they're getting to internet marketing or, researching how to make money online, they're thinking really short term. I meet guys that, ask me, they're like, hey, have you ever researched Black Hat, bro? And I'm like, why would you? I mean, it's such a waste of your time. Yeah, like, because let's say you spend a few months learning this method that you trick people into clicking your ads, or like, and you make some money, real quick. What's the point of that? Because you're not really doing the world a favor. You kind of just trying to get, scrounge some money together. And 2 months later, Google's going to have another update, and you're going to have to start all over again. So instead of trying to find these like shortcuts to make a little bit of money, why not just do it the correct way and make money for the next 10, 20, 30 years?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. So, I mean, like, we're number one on as far as energizing on Google, and I didn't do a thing. I didn't hire an SEO developer. I don't think about anything with regards to SEO. Now that's kind of, has to do with our niche. We're not as like, I'm not in some of these more like extremely competitive niches, online per se. Offline, obviously this is really competitive. But it's nice to be able to just not even have to worry about that. Oh, Panda's coming. Like, am I going to lose all my revenue?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you have a legitimate product that people like,
people will talk about it. They'll recommend it. I mean, there's definitely things you can do. I don't know if you do these things already, but like hire someone to guest blog for men's magazines or blogs to do with fashion, or just kind of and have them write product reviews on your stuff. And you get a backlink from different blogs. You get a bigger reader base. I mean, so there's definitely ways like that where you can kind of have more visibility in Google and searches, but at the same time, those are kind of very legitimate white hat ways to get traffic.
Yeah, we do pretty much everything white hat. There's some offline marketing and some online marketing. I'm mostly focusing on the customer I already have. I think that's a lot of people kind of forget about that. They think about, I gotta do all this pay per click, I gotta do all this SEO stuff to just keep on acquiring customers. And what they don't realize is that a lot of times the easiest way is to just market to the customer you already have.
Yeah, it's expensive to get new customers, but it's very easy to get customers to reorder.
Yeah, it's really, it's the worst way to grow a business is to try to get new customers every day,
Yeah. I mean, realistically, if getting that first customer, it's often you spend 100% of your profit from that first sale just acquiring that customer. But if you can get them to reorder, especially something like this where they may have to reorder once a month or once every 2 months, that second, third, fourth, fifth time they reorder, that's basically all profit because you're not spending money to advertise to them.
Oh yeah, definitely. The cosmetics, in pretty much any cosmetic, assuming it doesn't have like some rare, tropical plant from like the Amazon or something that you have to use. A lot of them are pretty, they're not too expensive to make, so there's a lot of margin in there to do marketing and stuff like that.
Well, a lot of that's kind of like, let's say like pharmaceuticals, they spend millions of dollars initially researching, developing it. But once they make it, it's, to actually produce the pills costs almost nothing.
Yeah, well, it also comes back to kind of lifetime value of a customer. If I get this customer to reorder the product 2 or 3 times.
And the thing is, because it's actually a good product, why wouldn't they reorder? It's not like you have to even market hard to them. You just, basically say, hey, do you need some more? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah, it's you can do, I mean, we certainly do that. But I mean, like I said, it is really competitive. And now like, there's this kind of booming kind of market where, men are starting to become a lot more conscious about, grooming products. So there's a lot more kind of grooming products starting up. I find a new competitor every day, pretty much.
That's insane. So what do you do about finding new competitors?
Well, so one of the big things I'm big on now is Instagram. I think it's great for brands like Chiefs. If you are a consumer-facing brand, you need to be on Instagram. It's just great to kind of, engage with your customers. And it's a great way to kind of keep a heartbeat on your market, too. Probably even better. That's probably the best way I've found now to kind of keep in touch with kind of what the market's doing. So a lot of my stores that I do business with, they do business with other grooming companies, new grooming companies and stuff like that. And so it's kind of great to kind of see what people are liking, people are commenting on. So that's one thing I'm kind of big on. Like I said, with these platforms like Etsy and Shopify, and it's just like anybody can start like a business now, which is good and bad. But I mean, like, so literally we can go in the backyard right now and, halfway hack together some grooming product, put a label on it and sell it on Etsy tonight. Now I'm not saying like directly we're losing competition from Etsy, but the market does become a little bit more saturated when you have, when it's just the barriers to entry are a lot lower. I mean, it's just kind of basic economics,
So let's say you're going to start all over. You weren't going to do men's grooming products at all, and you're going to pick a completely different niche industry. What would you do?
I would focus on something with like a really, really painful problem where you can get somebody on a recurring revenue plan and, maybe not even physical products.
So like, what are some examples of that?
Oh man, I wish I knew. But like software has always, I've always been intrigued by starting a software business. I mean, there's definitely cons to doing that. I'm not really a developer. I'm kind of, technical with a lot of things, but, I can't just fire up a web app in Ruby on Rails right now. So that's something that intrigues me. I've always been kind of intrigued by consulting. I know a lot of people say, like, don't do consulting. You can't sell a consulting business for millions and millions of dollars, But I mean, if you go look at Accenture billion-dollar company, you know, Deloitte, some of these consulting companies. But, you know, I would be inclined to look at maybe a consulting business where you can set up some sort of recurring revenue type platform. I think that would be the easiest probable way to get in with something like that, because you don't have to go and build a software application. You don't have to go and build a product, you know?
Okay. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. I mean, for me, if I was going to start all over, I'd probably do what we were talking about earlier. Just find whatever product you think you want to sell, see if someone was already making that, and if you could just drop ship for them.
Well, that's another, I mean, if we're talking about consumer products, I think that's a great way. You know, if you want to do anything in consumer products like supplements or cosmetics or even like, I just want to, like I met a guy today who sells toys online, you know, $1 million Amazon business that sells toys, you know, or I want to sell like outdoor goods. You know, I would go on, you know, I would start my own brand on Amazon, but have the mindset, or not my own brand, but my own store, but have the mindset that, you know, eventually I'm going to start my own kind of brand and pivot away. But if you leverage another platform first, you get to see kind of what sells, what doesn't sell, you know, what a customer have problems with, you know, do we need to do free shipping if we have them pay for shipping, you know? So you can do all these little mini tests on a product that's not yours, and you don't, you know, lose your lunch over it.
Yeah, another way to do it is you could private label something. I don't talk about this much, but one day a few years ago, I was sitting on a plane next to some guy, and, you know, general chit chat. I'm like, hey, what do you do for work? And he says he works for a private label fragrance company. And I was really interested, so I started picking his brain about it, and he thought I was just being polite, so he wasn't, you know, he didn't think I was actually going to jump on it. But by the time the plane landed, and this is just from LA to New York, I had decided to start a men's cologne company.
That's right, you told me. And just like your podcast, you got it going right away.
Yeah, right away.
You started making cash.
Yeah, I found a place that would private label my scent, bottle it, label it, package it, and the minimum order was 100 bottles.
Yeah.
So, you know, I said, okay. And, you know, the cost price was relatively low. And I basically just put up a site. It was just a HTML site that looked like I made it in Notepad. It was one page. It was a long sales letter. At the bottom it had a buy now button. I think it was actually through PayPal. And I sold basically all the bottles. I think I have maybe 2 bottles left. The site's been down actually for a year now. It's not something I wanted to focus on.
Yeah.
Mainly because the downsides of it, if anyone's thinking about getting in the cologne business, it's a pain in the butt to ship fragile glass liquids. And especially because for whatever reason, most of my orders were international. So people in Germany loved it for whatever, you know, crazy reason. I didn't even really market to them. And they wanted to order, you know, these glass bottles of liquid, and they want me to send it internationally, which, you know, just always got held up in customs. And that's mainly the reason why I stopped. The margins were actually really good. I think per bottle, it cost me maybe $7 per bottle, and it was selling for $47. So the market was really good.
Yeah.
Shipping wasn't that much because they're pretty small. And it cost me, you know, very little to get started with it because of the small minimum order. In fact, someone emailed me.
What's your minimum order with that cosmetic vendor? I mean, that fragrance vendor?
That one was 100 bottles, I believe.
Wow.
Or actually, it might have been less, actually. Because
there are, you know, with cosmetics, you know, you're looking at, it depends.
Yeah.
Obviously, everything different, but, you know, status quo is normally 1,000 unit runs.
Yeah, and I think the guy I was sitting next to on the plane, his company needed 1,000. Yeah. And I, you know, even though maybe it was a better company, I would have gotten a better packaging or whatever. I was like, well, I don't want to invest that much in the beginning, so let me find a smaller vendor. So the label wasn't as beautiful. The bottle was a kind of a generic,
but it was a turnkey.
square.
They could do everything.
They did everything for me. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, there's, you know, we could talk about what's the best way to get started or what's the worst way to get started, but, you know, that as I, you know, kind of mature in my career as an entrepreneur, I realized there's no right or wrong way to do anything. You know, you can do whatever the hell you want. Okay. And like the more I grow, you know, the more I realize I want to do things more and more differently from my competitor. So, you know, like you said, you just did it. You just launched it. I think that's the most important thing. Just get something out the door. And then, you know, I guess you could say, you wouldn't say that business failed. You just kind of quit doing it because you moved on to better ventures, right?
I mean, I definitely didn't lose money on it. I made money from it. I just decided, hey, you know, this isn't what I want to do.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that talk about kind of just failing forward.
Yeah.
And I think that's good, you know, by like doing this, you know, even if you might fail, like Chiefs might even fail one day, you know, but, you know, through the process of running the business and kind of, you know, for 2 years now, you know, if it were to fail, I would have, you know, it would be totally worth it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's what I really like about all the businesses I start.
Mm.
I don't think I've ever invested more than a couple $100 starting a business.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And, you know, without the internet, that would not be possible.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And it's an almost insane if you think about it, because, you know, if I invest $500 in a business and it doesn't do well, what did I lose? I probably didn't even lose $500 because I probably made back at least that much. So I've probably personally, I've you know, the past 5 years, I've started and, you know, moved on from at least 5 or 10 different little random projects like that, where I've spent, you know, a couple $100 or less, made back that amount of money or made a little bit of profit and decided, hey, this isn't really something I want to do. And because of that, you know, I gained tons of experience, you know, kind of had fun doing it. And now that I found something I actually enjoy doing, I'm good at it now, and it comes easy. So I definitely recommend to anyone listening, just do something, just start something. It's a free education, and, you know, as long as you're not spending more than a couple $100 on it, it's, you know, it's the greatest way to learn.
It's the best, better than anything you learn in school or a day job, even that. You know, I think what you said, you know, think about where you were today with the business that you're in right now. You know, would you ever start that business if you didn't start these little $300 or $400, $500 projects that you had done before?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't know. So, dude, it's been really, really cool talking to you, Will.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, me as well. All right. So if people want to order your product or get in touch, where should they go?
Yeah, so they can just email me at will@chiefsformen.com. I'm on Twitter too, Evans_Will. It's probably not the best Twitter profile. I probably need to change that.
And
but you know, you can find me there.
And your Instagram?
Yeah. Chiefs for Men.
Yeah, nice. Okay, very
Yeah.
cool. So before I let you go, I always ask people this, and I'm putting you this kind of on the spot for this, but what are 3 actionable items? It doesn't matter if it has to do directly with business or health or traveling or whatever it is. What are 3 things that you recommend anybody listening to this start doing right away, start doing today, that will help their overall life?
I would definitely start reading. And it doesn't have to be like you could listen to audiobooks, you know, reading and listening to podcasts have definitely helped me. I've learned more from doing that than I ever learned in school. I think also another thing that might help that I regret kind of doing, you know, I had some pretty good day jobs with some good, you know, bosses, but, you know, what I probably should have done in retrospect is if I really wanted to go into consumer goods, go work for someone who is doing consumer goods, you know, an entrepreneur that's, you know, couple years further down the road than you. So that's another thing I would recommend. And then one thing that's helped me too is kind of, you know, think about where you want to be, you know, think about the people you want to be around and go and hang around those people and distance yourself from people that you don't want to be around. And it sounds so simple, but, you know, in my early 20s, I just really didn't do that. You know, I was kind of more focused on just hanging out with, you know, people that were non-entrepreneurial and kind of, you know, creative and stuff like that. And I think, you know, in retrospect, I wish I would have done that a lot sooner.
Dude, really, really good advice, and great product. Great having you on. Everyone, thanks for listening, and check back next week for another great interview. And Will,
see ya.
Peace out. The Chief. Woo! Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.